Welcome to episode 5 of LSMN Overtime. I'm Brendan Selke. That's Alex Salazar. Today we'll be updating you on the latest soccer playoff action, as well as catching you up on some baseball and softball.
Yes, we will. So let's kick off with some updates on women's playoff soccer. Starting off with the Lady Jags, their season ended a bit earlier than they would have liked, losing in the second round of the playoffs to Lake Highlands 4-2. Hebron made it all the way to the third round before losing to Prosper 1-0. And rounding it up with the Lady Marauders, who made it to the fifth round before they then too lost to Prosper. But they gave them a good fight, taking the game all the way to PKs, losing 4-2, falling just short of the state tournament.
You know, there's a lot to be proud of out of all those schools and LISD schools and how good their soccer programs are. Of course, Marcus almost making another run to the state once again, and all those schools. There's great performance out of the women's teams.
Yeah, LSD is pretty set when it comes to soccer.
Now let's move it over to the men's side of the pitch. Hebron cruised their way into the third round of the playoffs before falling to, you guessed it once again, Prosper 2-0. And then with the rest of the guys' action from LISD, it's now over to DJ with our LSMN Spotlight.
Our LSMN Spotlight this week is the entire Flower Mound boys soccer team. This past weekend, they advanced to the state tournament for the first time since 2019. Here's how they got there. In the first round of the playoffs, they took care of business against Denton Geyer, winning 5-0. They then snuck by Irving 3-2 in the second round. In the third round, they cruised past Allen, shutting them out 2-0. Next, they faced off against East the Lake in the fourth round, and after the 90 minutes and extra time, the game went to PKs, where Flower Mound came out on top 4-2 to move on to the fifth round versus Prosper. In a final roadblock before state, the Jags were able to shut down Prosper's lethal offense to get the 1-0 shutout to move on to the state tournament. Now let's head back over to the desk to preview what Flower Mound has coming in the state tournament. For LSMN Overtime, I'm DJ Christian.
Thanks, DJ. Flower Mound will take on Austin Vandergrift on Friday at 7:30 as they start their final quest to the state championship in Georgetown. If they can win that game, they will then play again Saturday night at 6:30 for the championship versus the winner of Katy and Duncanville. So from all of us here at LSMN, good luck, Jags.
Yeah, congratulations to them. I really hope they can win it this year. Back-to-back soccer state champions in LISD would be awesome to see.
It would be a tremendous feat there by Flower Mound.
Now let's move it over to the softball diamond. Marcus faced off against Plano West on Monday as they moved their game up from Tuesday for inclement weather coming into Flower Mound. The game started out as a pitching duel between Marcus's Chloe Batet and Plano West's Kara Cleves. They both had the game scoreless to the first two innings. Avery Rich cashed in the first run of the game for Marcus, bringing home Alec McNeil on the sac fly. The Lady Wolves answered right back at the top of the fourth with his game-tying home run for Kaya Meta. The game remained tied through 4 innings. Meta added another run in the fifth, giving Plano West their first lead of the night on the sac fly, scoring Izzy Dunn. Plano West held this lead 2-1 in the 7th inning. The Marauders then rallied as Marley Meadlier tied the game at 2 with this RBI sac fly. The game would stay tied at 2 and head into extra innings. They got all the way to the 10th inning, still tied at 2, until the game was suspended with lightning and rain in the area. They resumed the game Wednesday night at the Colony. And then in the 12th inning, after Plano West took a 4-2 lead in the top of the inning, Marcus came fighting back in the bottom half and walked it off with this RBI single from Carly Burgess to get Marcus the 5-4 win and first place in districts. These are the rest of the scores from this week's game. Games moved all around due to the weather. The Colony decimated Newman Smith 17-0. Hebron pulled out the victory against Flower Mound 9-6, and then Louisville lost a close one to Plano 8-6. Now let's preview the upcoming games later this week. The Colony will try to continue their dominant week against Frisco, and then after a marathon that was over 12 innings over 3 days, Marcus will travel to Louisville and hopefully finish that one in 1 day. Flower Mound will attempt to bounce back from their loss on Monday against Plano, and then Hebron will try to keep their winning ways going up against Capel.
You know, it'll be interesting to see how Marcus responds from how you said 12 innings in just 3 days. They'll be winded, so I'd like to see how they respond in this next game.
It'll be fun to see, and I wish everybody luck coming up on Friday. Jake Hollis got to talk to Flower Mound softball about a special tradition they've done the past few years.
Flower Mound softball lets players connect not only with each other, but past players as well.
So the paw prints is basically just a way to show that all the players are like walking in as one. It's just basically talking about unity, and it's just a way to kind of portray each individual player. You can kind of see who's on the team and what they value as well. So yeah.
We had from the old field to the new field. We got the new field, and so it was the jungle over there. So we said, okay, welcome to the jungle, and so the footprints kind of represent family coming into the field, which is kind of like our little domain, if you will, in the jungle. But what it does is it kind of refreshes helps all the players to kind of refresh and think like, okay, this is who I am, and so it kind of refocuses them into our team atmosphere.
What does the tradition mean to each player?
For me, it symbolizes us just walking into each game and each practice like really as a family and as one.
It means like walking in with not just your current teammates, but also the previous teammates. That like even if your name's been painted over, we're still walking with them to our dugout, to our game, to our practice, to everything.
To me, it's about being a family, and I look forward every year to kind of doing our pause, and being able to see everybody's ideas and how their own individual take on their paw. But we also kind of keep it a tradition. Like everyone kind of follows the same diagram every year, so it's kind of cool to see what people do.
We all just kind of come together as like a family. We're all part of the same team. So like with the way our paws are set up, it's like our two teams, we're all walking into the same kind of den together. Like our first base dugout would be our den, like as the Jaguar paws. So I mean, like we're all just together, we're all going into the same thing, and we're all expecting all the same results, hopefully. And we all just know like we're gonna do this all together.
It means family, but it also means leadership. We order the pause kind of by class. So as a senior, I am our class is the first pause out there. So in a way, it's like all the younger people get to look up to us because we're leading the team. And it also means just like the younger generations get a chance to look up to us. So when they visit this field, they see their future and they kind of get to envision like their name on these paws, kind of like the Hollywood stars.
For LSMN Overtime, I'm Jake Hollis.
Now let's move over to baseball. No highlights for you with the weather in the area, but we have the scores and can recap the games for you. Flower Mound brushed past Capel 3-0. The Colony lost in extras to Wakeland 5-2, and Hebron shut out Plano 6-0. Now let's preview the games coming up this week. Flower Mound will look to stay undefeated in district play and sweep Capel. Louisville will play Marcus tonight as a makeup for the rainout on Tuesday. Then on Friday, they'll finish up the series. The Colony will look to bounce back from the loss earlier in the week to Wakeland, and Hebron will go for the sweep against Plano.
Ball program just reached 600 wins last week. Dating from the program's start in 2002 to now, congrats to the coaches and players over the past 22 years for this accomplishment. The Jags will be aimed for another amazing season after taking home state just last year.
After 25 seasons of coaching, Hebron volleyball head coach Karen Keeney is retiring, with assistant Rachel Buckley taking over next year. I got a chance to sit down and talk with them. Since the day the school opened in 1999, Hebron volleyball has been coached by one person, Karen Keeney. But at the start of this season, Coach Keeney announced she would be retiring, with assistant coach Rachel Buckley taking over.
When after you put in 38 years, you start thinking about your life and what it's going to be like after coaching. And so I think this year with bringing Rachel back to Hebron and seeing how well our kids loved her, and not just in volleyball, but in our adapted class too, it just filled my heart, made me feel like this is the right thing to do.
Having a great culture was something Coach Keeney looked to build for her team. And now, Coach Buckley looks to pick up where Coach Keeney left off.
Our kids bond very well, not just our kids, our parents, and the community behind them. After winning, that this program has been fortunate enough to do, winning the times we have, it just creates this community of people that will forever be Hebron Hawks. And so I think that's really important, that family.
Well, I hope to continue it. I'd say that the biggest part of it is just making sure that everybody is bought into it. So getting parents bought in, my staff bought in, and those two things alone will hugely help get the kids bought in. And when that starts happening, just getting the kids out there, I think our kids are the best sales and marketing we have. It's hard not to fall in love with Hebron volleyball players. When they work for you, when they're in the classroom for you, wherever it is, it's noticeable that, oh, that's a different oh, they're a Hebron volleyball kid. And so that's what I hope to instill, is just those high demands, high standards, enforce those high standards, and draw in the community.
Hebron volleyball has a great championship pedigree with 5 state titles, including a three-peat from 2015 to 2017. Coach Buckley will look to live up to the championship culture that Coach Keeney brought to Hebron.
Our expectations are high. We've been talking with the players going into next season. District champions is definitely on everybody's mind, and I think they have a very strong possibility to do that. And then I don't know why you play this game unless you're not trying to go all the way. So I would say every year our expectation is to get another state title on that wall. Whether we come short of it or not, that's always the goal.
With the amount of time she spent at Hebron, added with the success she brought, it would be tough for anyone to follow after Coach Keeney. But she believes that Coach Buckley is the right person for the job.
Turning it over to a former player and a former assistant who went out and did what she had to do, and I think I've seen that passion as a player now turn into a coach, and I'm very excited for her to be the head of Hebron volleyball from here on out.
For LSMN Overtime, I'm Alex Salazar.
Maddie Cox got to partake in something very special this past weekend. Maddie, a freshman basketball player from North Carolina State and a former Flower Mound Jaguar, got to play in the NCAA Women's Final Four as her team took on the South Carolina Gamecocks for a spot in the finals. Maddie's Wolfpack ended up losing that game 78-59, with Maddie playing 7 minutes and having 1 offensive rebound, with South Carolina going on to complete a perfect season and win the tournament. Although it's not what Maddie was hoping for, it's a great first experience in her freshman year. She will look to continue her already successful collegiate career next season for the Wolfpack.
This week's Grad Star is Lexi Benson, a 2020 Marcus graduate and a softball player at Stephen F. Austin. Lexi is having a great year as SFA is fighting for a spot in the Western Athletic Conference. She has a .269 batting average with his 5th on the team and leading the team in OPS at .814. Benson is also leading the team in slugging percentage at .430. One of the reasons she's leading the team in those categories is she has 6 triples on the season. Join us as we continue to watch Lexi and the rest of the SFA softball push for a spot in the College World Series.
And remember, if you have a grad star you would like us to shout out, let us know on Twitter at LSMN Sports.
That's all for this week's episode. Our next episode will be on April 25th and will be the last for the school year, so stay tuned for that. I'm Brendan Selke, that's Alex Salazar, and see you next time right here on Overtime.